Okay. All right, while we're waiting to see if a couple more people join us, I need to send a very quick email. Okay. All right. Welcome back again. Here we go. I see. There we go. Okay. So today we're going to talk about this project 4, the last project you're going to do. Before we start on that, does anyone have any questions or concerns about anything? Thank you, Stephanie. All right, Madison. That's okay. N works just fine. All right. All right, Preston. Good. Okay. Yeah, just are we just talking about the project? We are talking about the project. That is our main thing to talk about today is the project. So we will look at that. I want to remind you that you should be keeping up with any goals you have and adding anything to your planner. Okay, Garrett. Oh, yay. Welcome, Garrett. I'm glad you were able to join us. I know it's been a while. That must mean that you have a little bit of a break from work. So we are just getting started talking about project 4. I'm going to share my screen in a moment, just asking if people have questions or concerns about the things that we're doing or that we're going to be talking about in class today. And a reminder to keep up with goals and planners, get your planners done. Make sure that you are recording when you have to do different things. So let me open up project 4 and then I will share my screen so we can all talk about the same thing. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, please share them either out loud or in the chat. I'm just trying to make sure that I can see the chat and everything else I need to see at the same time so I don't lose the chat from people. Okay, so before we talk about in particular what this project is, I just wanted to give you a little bit of my reasoning for doing this project. So it's story time. And last winter, so winter semester from January on, I had a couple of one-on-one classes that were paired up with another 99 class, although I wasn't teaching the 99. My colleague Sean Mackey was teaching the 99, but so I had these 102 classes, and in my 745 102 class, like half the class was really super quiet, and quiet to the extent that you could forget they were there even though they were sitting right in front of you. And then I had this other group that, in particular, there was this group of guys who sat together at the table closest to my teaching station. And they were funny. They cracked jokes all the time. And they were, they were also serious as well, serious about participating in class and doing the work and, asking questions and telling me, you're crazy because we don't understand. And we just had some good discussions and things. And these guys, they didn't know each other when the semester started, but they very quickly formed a bond. And they were it was a great group of guys that just supported one another. They started meeting up after class, and they were in the 99 class together, all of them except one. And so they supported each other in that class as well. And their 99 instructor would say the same things about them that I was saying in 101. And one of these guys was just a fun guy. He had this great sense of humor. And one of the funniest things that I remember is one morning I was checking my email at the start of class during the brain dump and the sensory inventory. And I read this email and just burst out laughing. And of course, everyone's like, what? Why are you interrupting us? What's so funny? And so I had to tell them that one of the guys had written an email that morning saying he wasn't sure if he was going to make it to class because there were coyotes between him and his car. And he couldn't get to his car. And I was laughing because it was so unexpected. And nobody has ever used coyotes as an excuse for being late or missing class. And it was just, you don't expect that. And it was funny. And from the way the guy wrote it, because he was just a funny guy anyway, it was very humorous. And, I didn't know then, but that was going to be the last email I ever received from this student, because about a week later, we had one of those days. It was a Sunday. And it was one of those days where it was warmer and rainy earlier in the day, but as the day went on, the temperatures dropped well below freezing and the rain turned to snow and it was icy. And he was driving home from wherever he had been on 131, and his car spun out and hit the median, and he died on impact. And I wasn't notified of this directly from the school for a week, but I knew about it ahead of time because of a mutual friend that he and I had on Facebook, and she had posted just enough information that I was able to put some things together. And then I messaged her and it was confirmed. And another student from our class, one of those groups of guys, emailed me the Monday night as I was sitting at my desk, and I was actually in the process of trying to find information because this kid had missed class Monday, obviously. Um, and you know, this kid emailed me and he's like, "Yeah, Marcus died." And I was just, I had bet at that point, up until that point, I had been hoping and hoping and hoping it was somebody different. But this other guy confirmed it, and he didn't know any more details than I did. And we both were doing research, and we contacted the other professor and asked him if he knew anything. And finally, later that week, the school came out and told us, but we already knew. And so that Wednesday morning, going into class, I didn't know what to say. And I'd had a writing project, like a writing exercise we were going to do that was built on something really funny. And I couldn't do that day because I had to tell my students that we had lost one of our classmates. And I'd never had to do that before. I'd never had to tell my students that. I'd never had to tell a group of people that someone that, we had been spending so much time with, we'd never see again. And so I changed my lesson plan and I asked my students to respond to this prompt. The words I want to live by are. And then, they had probably 15 minutes to write. And I had them share with one another in their smaller groups because this was before COVID and you could do that. And then we shared back in class. Some people were brave enough to share theirs. And then I had to tell them about Marcus. And thanks, Austin. Obviously, it's still hard to talk about because it's just, it's unexpected. And it drove home to me, that on top of the fact that, as I've mentioned before, my own husband was hit by a car last October 2019, so just a few months before that. And he miraculously came away with just a really screwed up ankle and elbow. I mean, like seriously fractured, one of the top 5 worst fractures the ER nurse had ever seen for his ankle. And his ankle was so bad they didn't know his elbow was broken and dislocated at first. But in any case, I mean, it just brought home to me again that we never know. We never know when our last day is going to be. And we never know how much time we have to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. And so when I was trying to decide what kinds of projects I wanted to do with you all this semester, I thought this might be a good project, not to be morbid or anything, actually to turn it around, to make it a positive thing, to be thinking about, well, what do I want? Last week in our discussion, some of you were talking about leaving a legacy. That one of the things you would regret is that you weren't able to leave the legacy you wanted to leave. And that's an important thing. So in order to create the life that we want, we can't control all the variables. We can't control whether or not we're going to get this job or that house or whatever. But we can choose the way we want to live. So I want you to choose, 3 to 5 words that you want to make your guideposts for life. 3 to 5 words that are meaningful for you, that could be your legacy, that people could look back and say, this person lived a life of compassion and a life of gratitude and a life of humor, just so I want this to be a positive thing. Yes, it has a sad story to begin with, but I am all about turning things around and making the best out of them and being as positive as you can. And one of the best writing exercises I've ever done, and it's something that I come back to every time something doesn't go right, it's a rewrite the ending. What ending do you want? Rewrite it. Rewrite the story for the ending that you want. And a lot of times in doing that exercise, you can realize that, hey, not getting that job wasn't really the worst thing that happened because these other opportunities came along that I wouldn't have been able to embrace otherwise. So rewriting the ending is a good exercise. And this is kind of a way of not rewriting the ending, but writing the path, I guess, those guideposts that you want to have. So for this project, you're going to start with that idea. The words I want to live by are. And what are those words? What are those things that ignite life and passion in you? Um, Not necessarily the career that you want, because sometimes that changes. For a long time, I thought I was going to go into, I tell people I thought I was going to be a spy. I thought I was going to end up working for the NSA, National Security Administration, or for the government in some form as an translator, um, dealing with classified material. Obviously, I'm not doing that. Well, not that but clearly see, I'm not doing that right now. I'm doing something different. I'm teaching, which is really where my passions are. I think I would probably die a thousand deaths, in my mind, in my soul, if all I were doing were sitting at a table and translating documents all day long. Um, this is something more meaningful to me. And so just, yeah, what are the words you want to live by? What is it that brings you life, that gives you that passion that you can use to get to the places you want to be in life? Do you want to be a person known for your perseverance? Do you want to be a person known for, being compassionate? Do you want to be a person known for being the encourager? Do you want to be the person who's the leader? What are some of those words that you can choose? And you may start off with more than 3 to 5 and want to narrow that down. And then you're going to think about, well, what do each of these words mean? First of all, what is their actual meaning? So you might have to consult some dictionaries and some other things for that. And then how do you see that playing out in your life? For example, if you choose compassion as one of your words, you want to be a compassionate person. What specific ways will you show compassion in your corner of the world? We talked to, I think it was Austin maybe, who brought up, like, I can't go everywhere and be everything and do everything, but you can do something where you are. So what can you do where you are? And so that's, thinking about your context, what you hope your life will be like in 10 years. And that might be, I want to be doing this particular job. And so then what do these words look like in the realms of your career that you think you'll have and your family that you think you'll have, whatever that looks like. So what are some specific ways that these words will play out that you can think about? You can project, you can dream big, because dreams are great. And if your dreams are small, your accomplishments will be small. But if your dreams are big and you're striving after those dreams, you will accomplish more. You may not ever completely, fully accomplish the things you want to, but you will accomplish as much as you possibly can. So dream big. And then you're going to create a slide presentation, or if you have a different medium you would like to choose than a slide presentation, say you want to make some sort of video or something, that's fine as well. But you're going to create a slide presentation that's going to have a title slide, some sort of a context slide that's like, in 10 years, I want to be doing this in this location with these people, kind of thing. And then each of your words is going to have at least one slide where you will have kind of your, like, what does this word mean and how is it going to look in my life? And then a slide for your vision and mission statements, which can be anywhere you feel best for them to be. Maybe you want to start with those, maybe you want to end with those, whatever you want. And then some sort of a concluding slide that leaves the audience with something to think about. So this could be a restatement of the words you want to live by. It could be an inspirational quote, a proverb or other saying or something like that. We are going to present these. So you're going to submit the presentation on Blackboard, but we're also going to share them with the class, and that'll take place on the last couple of days of class. And so your presentation should be 5 to 8 minutes, no longer than 8 minutes. Okay. In fact, most of you probably won't go that long, but if you go any longer than 8 minutes, we will not have time for everyone. So between 5 and 8 minutes is what the length of your presentation should be. You want to make sure that you use an interesting design that's visually appealing. You can add graphics. You can use different fonts and colors as long as they're easily readable and don't like get too busy and cluttered. If you're looking for some interesting presentation templates, Slides Go and Slides Carnival are linked on here for you. Those are some that I get some of mine from. And you can just download those templates and then use them in PowerPoint and in Google Slides. So there's, yeah, different options for you there. So that is our project, our last project of the semester, something that, you know, ideally you can take this with you and really that it's meaningful to you. So what are your questions, concerns, comments?
When it says the meaning of each word, is that like in your own meaning, or is it like definitive meaning?
It should really kind of be a combination of both. So your meaning should be based on, you know, what the word actually means, but also like how you personally understand it. Is this all we are working on for the rest of the semester? Yes, Madison, this is what we're working on because I want you to be able to focus your energies, like your big energies, on the last two projects, the opinion piece and the portfolio for 101. So this is our fourth project in 99. That should give us a little more space in our worlds to put the big efforts that we need to into the 101 coursework that's left. But this is it for 99. And if you think about it, we only have 4 more class periods. Okay? So I know that seems like we're spending the rest of the semester on this, but we only have 4 more class periods and 2 of those are going to
Right.
be presenting. So we really have 2 more class periods to work on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that helpful, Madison?
Yes, I also have another question.
Sure.
So do you think the rest of the semester is going to be online?
I do. Yeah, the current order I think expires at the end of the day on the 7th. It's either the 7th or the 8th. Our final scheduled class is the 9th. There is a very slight possibility that we could be all together on the 9th, but we have been told by admin to not expect that, to expect to just stay home.
So would that be like for all classes or just our class?
All classes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we do not have a final exam for this class. So the week of the 13th, I think it is exam week. So that's the week that in most classes, if you have a final exam, it would be held during that week. We don't have a final exam, so we are done at the end of our final class for this class period. So the 9th is our last day for this class. And for 101, your portfolios will be due on that Friday, the 11th, by the end of day.
I really hope the next semester is able to be in person because I don't want to have all my classes online.
I know the feeling. I really do.
I'm more
Like-
productive in person.
I think that's true for a lot of people. I mean, there are some people who do really well with online classes, but I think I've shared with some of you. I don't know if all of you are not, but like I am not a good online student, especially if it's an asynchronous class. Like this kind of thing, I would do better because we have regular class sessions, and so it's, expected that at this time on these days I'd be logged into my class and meeting with my professor and students, classmates. But in the asynchronous classes where it's just like, here are your assignments for the week, get them done, I would be a horrible student for that. I mean, I know I'm a horrible student for that because I've tried it before. It's not, I'm not one of those that it does really well. So, I mean, for your sakes, I really do hope that that we have in-person classes in the winter, but I want you to be realistic and not count on it too much, because I don't want you to be disappointed if they can't be held on campus. And those of you who might be a little bit more like me, and just be like not the best online student ever, you might try looking for the virtual classes, which would be more like this, where that you're in class, even though it's Zoom or Meet or whatever your instructor would decide, you're in class at this time on these days. It can be a little more motivating, especially if it's something is going to happen all semester. It's harder when you just get thrown online for the last few weeks. So, other questions, concerns, comments about anything, about the project, about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? Well,
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. You guys are all fine.
Well,
It's okay. I'm going to say that if anyone wants to stick around and work on this project right now, you want to work on choosing your words, looking for your definitions, those kinds of things, I can keep the meeting open until the last person logs out or until 12:45, whichever comes first. But if you want to go off and do whatever it is you need to do on your own, that is fine as well. Monday and Wednesday next week, we will plan on using class time for working. But since this is Thanksgiving week, you can make your decision yourself.
Be a little more lazy.
Right. So I'll stick around for anyone who wants to stick around. The rest of you can have, a great day, nice Thanksgiving week. And let me know if you have any questions about anything. Thanks, Emmy. Thanks, Preston. You too. Garrett, are you still here? Happy Thanksgiving, Angelique.